Right now at 6, catalytic converters are being hotly targeted.
They had half the catalytic converter cut off.
And thieves are going to extreme measures to get them.
He then pointed the gun at my husband's head and fired.
Tonight, the warning from police that could save your life.
Colorado loves the environment, but seems to hate recycling.
Colorado's recycling rate is pretty abysmal.
The state wants to rethink our plan for recycling.
Part of the problem in Colorado is that we have a very patchwork system.
Plus, Colorado is moving closer to year-round daylight saving time.
Thanks for joining us for Denver 7 News at 6. I'm Shannon Ogden.
And I'm Jacqueline Allen. Instincts typically kick in when we are protecting our property, but those same instincts could cost your life when it comes to catalytic converter thieves.
Denver police say these thieves now have started posting armed lookouts while trying to steal the converters. In fact, just last month, a victim narrowly dodged a bullet from one of those lookouts.
And Denver 7's Patrick Perez explains why, as expensive as catalytic converters are, they're not worth your life.
My husband could be dead now.
It was just last month when we spoke with Jacqueline Gehrig about the terrifying encounter her husband had with a group of thieves.
The guy pulled out a gun, aimed it at my husband, said, "Let the guy go." My husband said no. He said, "You know, you just need to leave," and he then pointed the gun at my husband's head and fired. Luckily, it missed.
All of this because he came outside their Jefferson County home to check on their cars after hearing a grinding sound.
They had half the catalytic converter cut off.
Turns out while one man was underneath the Honda sawing the catalytic converter off, another was standing by as a lookout and armed with a gun.
It was 6:05. The sun was out. I mean, it was broad daylight.
Now, Denver police is warning others to not approach anyone stealing your car parts.
In the last 2 years, we're aware of 135 incidents where somebody has encountered somebody that had a firearm that was acting as a lookout while the other person was stealing a catalytic converter or attempting to.
Christine Downs with DPD says while she's not aware of anyone in Denver being injured, the close call experienced by Gehrig's husband shows how quickly a theft can go wrong.
Don't hesitate, call the police, make yourself a good witness, be safe, protect yourself, don't engage with these people that are committing these crimes.
If you can believe it, there have been already more than 500 catalytic converter thefts in Denver in just the past 3 months. Denver police has some information about how you can prevent yours from getting stolen, like welding some bolts together and etching your information to make it harder for these thieves to steal it. We'll have more of this on thedenverchannel.com. For now, in Denver, I'm Patrick Perez, Denver 7.
Tonight, the Weld County Sheriff's Office says they have a Laramie, Wyoming man in custody accused of stealing a number of those catalytic converters. 29-year-old Austin Brumfield was arrested Tuesday as deputies were investigating reports of catalytic converters being stolen at an RV dealership outside Longmont. Deputies say they found a trunk full of them during a search warrant. They say the value of all those converters is $5,600.
Tonight at 10, Denver 7 Investigates looks into the issue of catalytic converter thefts, why they're happening, where they're happening the most, and how you can keep it happening to you. Keep it from.
I just think this whole thing needs to be escalated. Not enough's being done. The public needs to know about it.
I just got in and started it up, and it was so loud. It was deafening and embarrassing.
People want to know, have you made any arrests?
We have not.
Did you know there were nearly 100 catalytic converter thefts at that location?
Those numbers I did not know.
Wow, and join us tonight for Denver 7 News at 10 as we dig into the data about these thefts and what law enforcement is doing about it.
An Elbert County Postmaster has been arrested on charges of sexual exploitation of a child. 45-year-old Chad Miller arrested at the post office in Elizabeth yesterday. Jefferson County's Chizo unit carried out this arrest. Jeffco deputies say undercover investigators posed as a 13-year-old girl and had contact with Miller between March 9th and the 30th. They say Miller described the sexual acts he wanted to do and requested live pictures to verify she was real. He was arrested on 2 counts of sexual exploitation of a child. That is a felony.
After months of waiting, hundreds of people who lost everything in the Marshall Fire now have an idea of when and where debris removal is going to start. Some of the hardest hit areas will have first priority. Those areas include Superior's Sagamore neighborhood, along with Original Town Superior and El Dorado and Louisville. The county prioritized these neighborhoods because of the environmental hazards they face and their socioeconomic status. Mayor Pro Tem in Superior says everyone needs to be patient.
There's naturally going to be some frustration with some people who, may appear lower on the list than the people who are higher up on the list.
Crews are expected to be on the ground by mid-April, taking anywhere from 3 to 5 days on every lot, depending on the size.
Colorado does a lot of things right, and recycling is not one of them. An annual report found the state only recycles 15% of its overall waste. The rest ends up in the landfill, and that 15% is less than half the national average. Well, lawmakers in Colorado now have unveiled an idea to boost recycling rates while making companies contribute more. Denver 7 political reporter Megan Lopez.
If you live or work anywhere near Denver, you've probably seen purple recycle bins like this lining the streets every couple of weeks.
In Denver, purple means recyclable.
But this is certainly not the case for all Colorado cities. Many mountainous and rural communities have no recycling at all because logistics can be complicated and expensive. All of this,
Colorado's recycling rate is pretty abysmal.
Means Colorado recycles only about 15% of its overall waste.
We need to stop depending on individual consumers to sign up for recycling programs or individual cities to try to figure out how they're going to pay for this.
So on Friday, Democratic Representative Lisa Cutter and Republican Senator Kevin Priola unveiled a bill to shift the way recycling happens in the state.
Part of the problem in Colorado is that we have a very patchwork system.
House Bill 1355 does two main things. It sets up a producer responsibility program charging manufacturers for the goods they sell in the state, and it uses that money to stand up a statewide recycling program. For consumers, the program will establish a clear, uniform list of what is and is not recyclable.
You'll pay one amount for your trash and recycling service.
So on the producer responsibility side of things, supporters of this bill say that there is just a lot of waste. So take this cup of ramen noodles, for instance. It was shipped in a box, it's got a lid on top of it, it's wrapped in plastic, and then it also had this cardboard wrapping as well. So some of this is going to be recyclable, some of it is not, and a lot of it ends up, unfortunately, in the landfills. The goal of the bill is to increase recycling, but also to encourage companies to cut down on all of this waste, to use recyclable and recycled materials.
I think this bill really does is it gets the collaboration of industry to come together.
But already the bill is facing industry opposition. Albertsons and Safeway oppose it, so does the Colorado Farm Bureau. There are concerns about how this will affect newspaper companies, marijuana dispensaries, even breweries. And producer responsibility has faced pushback in the past from some concerned the costs will simply be passed on to consumers. For now, though, this group is hopeful Colorado could create a model for the country with this bill. Megan Lopez, Denver 7.
And last year, more than 100 large corporations signed on in support of producer responsibility, including Coca-Cola, Unilever, and Walmart. So right now, Maine and Oregon are the only two states with responsible packaging laws.
So if you want to be better at recycling at home, we do have some simple steps. You can do away with using plastic bags, and this one also saves you money because of plastic bag fees in place across much of our state. Now this one's interesting. Don't recycle anything smaller than a credit card, including bottle caps and coffee pods. They're too small to be sorted, they can jam the equipment. Also, leave combined materials out of the recycling bin. Any plastic-coated coffee cups or paper/bubble wrap envelopes cannot be recycled because the materials can't be separated. And plenty of businesses in our state can help you reduce waste. Today we visited Zero Market at the Edgewater Public Market. They also have a location over at the Stanley Marketplace in Aurora. Their owner says she wants to encourage people to be better about recycling.
It's generally known as like an outdoorsy, people really love nature, all of that, but also the recycling rates here are horrible, the worst in the country. So figured bringing something positive like this for the environment to the state hopefully would turn things around a little bit, get this on the radar for people.
That store smells amazing. I've been in there. Everything in Zero Market is either recyclable, compostable, or reusable. Their biggest sellers are soaps and body washes.
A bill to make daylight saving time the year-round standard time in our state is now heading to the state Senate. Now, the House passed the bill today. So changing the time is actually a lot more complicated than just passing this bill. Federal law also would have to change, allowing states to remain on daylight saving time year-round. Idaho or New Mexico would also have to pass bills changing their time, so a majority of states in the time zone are the same.
He was looking for a job to support his family.
I put together my resume, I put it on LinkedIn and Indeed, and just kind of waited.
All he found were scams.
I opened up my Bank of America app. It was $7,500 in debt.
After the break, how scammers are using cryptocurrency to prey on victims.
These people tend to be a step ahead of law enforcement.
Looks like a great weekend coming up in between a couple of cold fronts. I'll let you know when this one brings the next chance for rain and snow.